If you if you're receiving alimony or child support through a divorce or separation agreement, and you're trying to qualify for a home loan, you could have challenges. The reason for this is there's a difference between Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac Conventional guidelines, FHA government-insured guidelines, VA and USDA. And anytime your guidelines are different, depending on the loan program, there's a high probability that the loan officer that you got connected with on the internet, that they may not understand that the guidelines are different for every one of these programs. So the reason I'm doing this is to show you from an experience perspective that these guidelines are all a little bit different. So if you're trying to qualify for a conventional loan and you've already looked at Fannie Mae and maybe you didn't meet some of the criteria, then you can look at Freddie Mac. Both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are both conventional loan programs. The terms are all the same, but the qualifying is a little bit different. So today we're going to talk about the Freddie Mac guidelines if you're receiving alimony or child support. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Now, the number one thing that the underwriters are going to be looking at is income documentation. And essentially, it's three things. They're going to look at the continuation of the receipt of the child support and alimony. They're going to make sure that you're going to be receiving it for a certain period of time in the future. They're going to make sure you have been receiving it. So they're going to look at the history of the receipt. And then there's a calculation of how you calculate that child support or that alimony so that you can have it added to your income to help improve your debt to income ratios and help increase your purchasing power, allowing you to qualify for the mortgage for your home. So Freddie Mac is the same as Fannie Mae in the sense that they need to document, or you need to document, that you're going to be receiving those payments that they're going to continue for 3 years. Now, you can do this with a copy of a signed court order or a legally binding separation agreement, or a final divorce decree. For child support income, you need proof for the ages of the children for which the child support is received. So normally, child support is received until the child is like 18. So if your kids are 16 and 17 years old and your divorce decree states that that your ex is only required to pay you child support until the kids turn 18, that's not going to be 3 years of continuation. So you're not going to be able to use the child support for those children that are not going to be receiving that child support payment for them for the next 3 years. And that's really important. So you need to document and verify that the payer is obligated to make a payment to the borrower for at least the next 3 years. Then there's a history of receipt. So first thing, we have to prove we're going to keep getting these payments for the next 3 years. Not that big of a deal. It can be documented. The next thing is you need to document the receipt. So you can do this. You have to show that you've received it for the last 6 months or for the most recent 6 months. And you prove that. The documentation required is either bank statements or canceled checks. Okay. Calculation of the income. Now, this is important. You want to check with your CPA or your financial advisor to find out what the taxable status is for your support payments. Alimony and child support, they may be different, but normally, if you're receiving alimony and child support, it's not considered taxable income on your income tax. If those payments are not considered taxable income for you, then you can gross up that dollar amount by 25%. So really what it looks like is you're adding an extra 25% to what you're already receiving. The way we do that calculation is we take the dollar amount times 125%. So when we do that, you're going to get a little bit more purchasing power, because you're actually going to be able to use a number that's more than what you're actually receiving for the alimony and the child support. Again, it's so important that you're working with an experienced loan officer when you're doing this, because if they don't know these guidelines, if they don't know that FHA, Fannie Mae, VA, USDA are all different. They all have different aspects and different nuances to their guidelines. And if they just don't have enough experience and they don't know you can gross up that income, that's hurting your loan approval. You might be able to get approved, but they're not giving you your full purchasing power. And that's the reason why we created this channel, why I created this website, the website of findmywayhome.com. And the reason why I do these videos is because we have decades of experience. We consider ourselves guideline geeks, and we don't like to say no. So it's important that you have an experienced mortgage professional, because we will look up the guidelines and we're going to look at all of the guidelines. We're going to research all of your options, and we're going to present you with all of your options, because that's what a mortgage professional does. So if you do not already have a loan officer that you are working with and that you trust, you can stop by findmywayhome.com. I put that website up almost 15 years ago now, and it is only to connect consumers with loan officers that actually care. So there's a couple ways you can find help on there. You can either scroll down to the bottom and you can choose the state that you're living in or want to buy in, and you can find an expert that's licensed in your state. Or there's a form on there that you can just ask. Well, actually, I ask you, what is your biggest question or concern about qualifying for a mortgage? And if you send that to me, I will match you with a loan officer that is licensed to help you in your state, and that can get you to the next steps. So it's never fun talking about alimony and child support, especially if kids are involved. But if you have an opportunity to qualify for a mortgage, to get a new home for you and your kids, after those challenges, we want to give you the absolute best opportunity to do that as possible, as we possibly can. Again, if you've watched this video, also look at the Fannie Mae video. There's a lot of similarities. If those don't work, look at the FHA video. VA and USDA, there are specific circumstances that need to exist for you to qualify or even apply for those mortgages. So your go-to standard for every single borrower is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac Conventional, or FHA, government-insured mortgage. So be sure, if you don't think you fit this criteria, be sure to check the FHA video out. Fannie Mae guidelines are going to be very, very similar to this. But if there's another feature in your qualifying that requires you to go Freddie Mac, these guidelines are going to be very, very similar. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all about this, feel free to ask below. I'll answer any questions that you have, or you can go to findmywayhome.com and you can find a mortgage expert that we know, like, and trust, that is going to be happy to answer your questions about qualifying for a mortgage if you're receiving alimony or child support. So I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.